Hey everyone, I'm Johnny, and this is my co-host, Connor. Hello.
Welcome to our podcast, Dad Shoes.
Have you ever wondered where a dad joke comes from?
Or how dads just seem to have the right wisdom for the moment?
Or you're just trying to figure out what your dad was thinking. Maybe you are a dad, and you just need to hear,
hey man, us too.
Well, we're learning what it's like to wear the dad shoes.
We would like to invite you to join us on the journey. First things first, though. John, how was your weekend, man?
Which part?
Part 1.
As I'm sure you know, I work on Saturdays, so my weekend consists of a Sunday, and then I'm back to work on Monday. This past Saturday, I was woken up at 12:30.
AM or PM?
Middle of the night.
Oh, okay.
Middle of the night. Woken up by my wife, who says, "Did you turn the monitor on?" So I roll over to turn the monitor on, and Charlotte May is screaming. And I look at it, and there had been a ball that I hid at the head of her crib, because I didn't really want it in the crib with her. It's a little, 4-inch diameter ball. Anyways, I thought she saw it, and she was trying to get it, and she was stuck. Because that's what it looked like. She was face down in the corner, arms sticking out of the crib. It's what it looked like on the monitor. So yeah. I jump out of bed, and I go to get her. She's not stuck. By the time I get in there, she's standing up at me, screaming. So I pick her up, and because I got out of bed so fast, my wife then comes in to follow me because she's freaking out. And I'm like, if I needed you, I would have called you.
She only saw your reaction, though.
Of course. I mean, I understand. I absolutely get it. It was just like, because now she's there.
Now it's a party.
And now I want mommy, not daddy, because daddy's already here. So now I want the person who just left. So yeah. That's wonderful. So then she wants mom. So mom goes over to take care of her, comes out to take care of her. But now she's screaming in the living room, and she wakes up Mabel. So now Mabel wants comforting, so I'm holding Mabel. It's about that time she would have gotten up anyways for midnight snack. I ain't got no snacks.
Yeah. Time to switch.
Mom's kind of got Charlotte chill, so we switch. All good. Mom and Mabel go back to sleep. Wonderful. I stayed up with Charlotte May, and long story short, 2:30, I finally roll back into bed with a sleeping toddler, a sleeping infant, and a sleeping wife. So that was fun. And bless her heart, my wife let me sleep in until like 8:30. And I mean, Charlotte May didn't get up till then either. She got up, and then my wife said, "Hey, you need to get up too."
8:30 a.m. is when the guilt starts to kick in, and it's like, yeah, my wife's been up with the kids.
Yeah, for me, if I sleep in that late, even if the kids are still asleep, I feel like I wasted the day. But
oh no, for me it's totally, my wife's been with the kids for 2 hours.
Yeah, no, I can dig that.
Weekdays we wake up, alarm goes off at like 6:15, 6:30. And that's so we can get up and get ready before the kids. And the weekends, kind of the agreement is that Nana takes the kids in the mornings.
Very nice of her.
It is very nice of her. And they love it because she puts on their favorite movie and gives them whatever snacks that they want, whatever keeps them quiet. And then we sleep until, 7:30, 8 o'clock. So we get a little extra sleep. But that's one of my biggest fears as a parent, though, right there, what you experienced. Is when one kid wakes up in the middle of the night and then wakes up the other kid.
Yeah. It's funny because we're moving, and we did finally find a house. I don't know if I've shared that on here. We have finally found a house. We're just going through the closing process, which is stressful by itself. And that was, one of the things that happened at the end of last week was we finished filling out all the paperwork, and we'd been looking for a 3-2 because we want to put the girls in their rooms, and I want them to have their own rooms. And my wife is like, oh, well, why don't we just have them share a room? It's good for them to share a room, and then we'll still have a guest room. Well, babe, one of them is going to wake up in the middle of the night and wake the other one, and then we're both going to have to be up, and we're both going to be miserable the next day, and I don't get a chance to nap during the day.
Some people make it work, though.
Yeah, I mean, I figure we compromise. For now, while we have an infant, they're not allowed to sleep in the same room. Once they're in like toddler beds and they can get up on their own, and okay, then we can put them in the same room. We can go from there and reevaluate.
Yeah, but that might be worse because then one of them can go wake up the other one on purpose. Like Charlotte goes over to Mabel and says, Hey,
do you want to build a snowman?
I follow Kelly Stafford on Instagram. And Kelly Stafford is Matt Stafford's wife, and I'm a Lions fan. I follow Kelly Stafford because Matt Stafford doesn't have social media, so I can't follow him. So I follow his wife.
Ooh, good for him.
Yeah, he seems like a pretty to himself guy.
Good.
But,
He does. I always thought that myself.
and they have 3 kids and a 4th on the way.
Holy smokes.
They have 3 daughters. They have twins, then they have a younger daughter, and they have one more on the way. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. I don't know if they've announced that. But I know at least the twins share a room. And that's why I bring all this up.
But that's...
Kelly,
okay.
Kelly Stafford will post videos of their monitor at nap time. They're over 3 at this point. They're older than Titus is. Some of the videos she posts, it's just chaos. Because they're both in like regular beds, and they'll just like both be jumping on one bed, and then they go over and they both jump on the other bed, and then they're running in circles because they're, not napping because it's nap time, and that's what kids want to do. And then eventually they finally both crash like in the same bed.
Yeah.
And it's like super adorable.
That's fine. And I figure if they're twins, they're
on the same schedule.
Yeah. My bigger concern is that one is a toddler and one is an infant. My infant is going to wake up the toddler.
Yeah. We might be at that point. We've had the same conversations, especially when we start looking. We're at my mom's house. All the kids have their own rooms, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But now that Riley is really sleeping through the night consistently, or at least getting herself back to sleep, that's more of a reality that we could put them in the same room.
But yeah, I mean, apart from my Saturday night, Sunday actually was pretty good. And then I had to go to work today because today's Monday, but I'm off tomorrow, and then we go on vacation on Wednesday. We're going out of town, so we're recording this a little bit early, but. My weekend just started. It just ended.
Hey,
next just started.
Weekend. You're already on the next weekend.
I'm already on the next weekend, man. It's so cool. How was your weekend?
Well, I don't know if I'm ready for next weekend because my weekend was pretty awful.
Really?
It's one of those weekends where I was actually glad the weekend was over. We didn't have anything particularly special going on. In fact, we avoided plans because just the week had been, we had a lot going on last week. We bought a van, so we had a lot going on.
Yeah, congrats. I checked it out today.
Oh, you got to see it?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It does have a faint cigarette smell.
Oh, does it? I don't know.
It's very faint, and it's so much so that it could actually have been somebody outside of a house near mine.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll look for it when I get in the van tomorrow.
Yeah, sorry if I ruined your car.
Ruined my... Oh, no, it's okay. Cigarette smell reminds me of my dad.
Oh, well, you know what? At least there's something positive.
There you go.
But anyways, yeah, so you just bought a car.
Yeah, we had a busy week last week, so we just wanted to have a chill weekend, just kind of hang out for a bit. But for some reason, Titus, was off all weekend.
Really?
He just was miserable. He was super whiny and... didn't want to do anything, and we were trying to be accommodating to him as much as we could, as much as we didn't feel like we were spoiling him.
That's hard.
There are certain points in your child's life when you're okay spoiling them a little bit, particularly the teething phase. You want to give them a break. They're growing teeth. It's pretty hard. Yeah. But Titus he's just miserable. So we were really glad when the weekend was over because we were able to send him back to school. And of course today, he gets out of school, he went to swim lessons, and he came home, and we hung out, and he was awesome.
Awesome.
We had a great evening, actually, playing on the ground and watching Wreck-It Ralph. But you know what I did learn? Speaking of times when you want to cut your kid some slack, it's very possible he might be teething again.
Why do you say that?
Because, if you look in his mouth, he's only got the one set of molars. And at about the end of 2 years old to about mid 3 years old is when the next set of molars comes in. And then I don't think they grow any more teeth until 6. I could be wrong on that.
There's the 2-year molars, and then the however year molars, and then your wisdom teeth are supposed to come in sometime between. I think it's sometime between 16 and 22.
Yeah,
I know that's a big gap, but I got mine removed at I think I was 18. Because I could do it myself, but I couldn't drive myself. I couldn't cut it out myself. I could set up the appointment and all that myself, but I couldn't drive myself because then you're stoned.
You're stuck.
Yeah.
You don't have your wisdom teeth?
I do not, and I only had 2 which my brother was super happy about because my mom's telling everybody, "Oh yeah, he only had two wisdom teeth." And my brother looks at me and says, "Oh, I always knew you were a halfwit."
I actually have all my wisdom teeth.
Really?
I did not have any removed. Yeah.
That's weird.
I had different teeth removed. When I got braces in middle school, they pulled out whatever molar I already had. Because my wisdom teeth weren't in yet. So they pulled out whatever molar was there. They didn't have to do a whole surgery. I actually got to keep the teeth. I don't know where they are right now, though. But you can see them, man, root and all. Tooth Fairy paid big bucks for that, too.
Really?
I got like $20 for 4 molars.
You got $20? Holy smokes.
Yep, and I get to keep my wisdom teeth.
So, total non sequitur. You ever seen those flaming shots?
Yes.
I was watching one. This guy was making a drink, and it was really cool to watch a bartender make it. But then he lit it on fire, and what's burning is the alcohol. So you're going to pay a lot of money for a really complicated, heavily alcohol drink, but then you're going to burn off most of the alcohol?
I don't know.
So
that was
weird.
a non sequitur. I don't know where you were going with that.
I just saw
one. Hey,
one.
but do you know what an Eskimo's favorite drink is?
That's fine. Eskimo's favorite drink. Man, I want to come up with it because I know it's going to be funny and I want to think of it.
Yep. You just got to ask, man. You just got to ask.
What's an Eskimo's favorite drink?
I don't know. Alaskan.
You just got to ask. Alaska. Speaking of Eskimos, have we talked about Molly of Denali?
You've brought it up, yes, a lot.
Molly of Denali is awesome.
Is Molly of Denali an Eskimo?
Well, she is an indigenous person.
Of Denali?
I don't know specifics, but she is one of the First Nations people from Alaska. I just love that show. I think it's so good.
We'll have to check it out. You've brought it up a lot.
And they got the girl who plays Molly is like she's part of that culture, and it's really cool. I like it. All right. Well, let me ask. So, all right. So we're buying a house, right? And there's a few things that I've really wanted to do with my house, right? Mm-hmm. We've got the house we're buying has a fence on two sides, the back and one of the sides is already fenced because we have neighbors that are cool, and so we need to put in a fence on one side, and that's awesome. We'll get that taken care of. That'll be one of the first things we do. No biggie. This morning, I spent an hour on Pinterest looking up different ways to do like water removal. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll put in like a French drain or something. I know you watch all the time, probably exactly as frequently as I do. HGTV.
HGTV is going to have a whole new meeting for you here in a little bit.
I've always liked that stuff, and it's cool to watch. There's a lot of the shows that I really enjoy watching, but speaking of shows that I really like watching, and another one on the way, did you hear Chip and Joanna have another one on the way?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so many kids.
So many kids.
They got the room for it, though. You know, they own all that room on the farm.
They own half of Waco, Texas.
Yeah, if not all of it. They're working on it. Yeah. I remember growing up, and my mom always put on HGTV and Food Network, and I hated it. Like, no interest.
That's funny.
In watching HGTV. I did not care about the houses. I did not care about Guy Fieri, whatever he was eating today.
Right.
But now that I'm an adult, it's like, it's what we put on when we just need to like fill the air. You know, when you want to put something on TV when you're going to go do something else, but you need to have the background noise. It's like HGTV or it's Food Network.
We always watched Food Network growing up. HGTV kind of came about after Food Network, at least in my reckoning.
Yeah.
My family cooks. In fact, there's a running joke where it doesn't matter who in my family you ask, hey, are you hungry? I could eat. That's just the way it works. Nobody says, no, I'm not hungry. You could come from dinner, go to your family member's house. We just finished eating. Are you hungry? I could eat. It happens. And somebody pointed it out. And for the next month, every time I saw another family, hey, are you hungry now? I could eat. So we eat in our family. So the Food Network was always on.
Well, and that was like the whole For those who have been with us since the beginning, that was the whole inspiration for the "What's for dinner"
Must be
question
right.
that we started every episode with. Because you like to cook. I've recently started cooking more in my house. I mean, I was always the one who made dinner. That's mostly because I'm a picky eater and I want to
Right.
pick what I'm eating. So I started watching a lot. Not too much Food Network, like to go look for it. If it's on, then we'll put it on. But mostly like Binging with Babish or Mythical Kitchen or stuff from Epicurious. Just different food channels on YouTube. And I'll go watch those just to learn different recipes and pick up different skills. And kind of the attitude I took with it is, I have to do it anyway. Like for my family. My family's got to eat. We got to have dinner. I might as well enjoy it.
That makes total sense. I get it. When you put that up there, it didn't really make any sense. I thought you were talking about DIY. I'm like, I mean, I guess I need a fence, so sure. But now that you say that, I totally get what you mean.
With cooking, if I'm going to have to cook burgers for dinner, I might as well make good burgers. I might as well learn how to make the best burger I can.
Right.
And I think I've got down a pretty good burger that, before I would just fill it with seasonings. Just fill it with all kinds of stuff. And now when I cook burgers, salt and pepper. That's it.
Why is that?
I started, when we moved into an apartment, I started using a cast iron skillet.
Yep.
And we couldn't have a grill, so I had to use something. And we still wanted to eat steaks and burgers.
And they are amazing in a skillet, so...
Yeah, so, I mean, you're just kind of cooking it in its own fat. Started watching Binging with Babish and seeing what, he uses a flat top or he'll use a skillet to cook burgers. And for me, it became more about getting a nice, crust on the meat instead of, filling it with seasonings and making a flat meatball sandwich,
So, that's interesting. Kind of a side note, Gordon Ramsay's Ultimate Cookery Course. It's a playlist on his YouTube channel. And it looks like there's 14 videos. They're 20 minutes long. So that's cool. I mean, I like making flat meatballs on a bun. Or like a personal pan meatloaf. That's what I like to have,
I didn't think of it like that. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Meatloaf's on my list, too. We haven't done meatloaf in a long time. And my mom made meatloaf a lot growing up. And it was okay. It was not my favorite meal.
I love meatloaf,
but, man, we stopped making meatloaf, and I really need to find a meatloaf recipe.
So two things. For your recipe, we use it's that white cookbook everyone's mother had. It's like Good Recipes or something. And I can't believe I can't remember what it is. It's just the cookbook that we get. And it's from I don't know. It's old. You can still see things that are reminiscent of World War II era cooking. Wow. Yeah. I mean, it might just be because I have an old book. But
yeah,
but we use that meatloaf recipe, and my wife has doctored it because I like a lot of onions.
That's the exciting thing about cooking, though.
Yeah,
when you make the recipe your own, and you're like, well, I want this kind of flavor, and especially when you know how to get that flavor.
Yeah, making your seasonings complement one another. It's like you were talking about a few weeks ago with the oregano.
Yeah,
oregano's in a lot, and it's surprising how much
oregano's in a lot.
That'll change stuff. I like to put breadcrumbs in mine because that's how you make your meat go farther.
Yeah.
That's why meatballs are peasant food.
Okay, we made meatballs last week.
Oh, I love meatballs, dude. When there's not enough bread, it's dense. The meat is dense. I'll add a Parmesan cheese in there.
Yeah, my burgers have gotten really simple.
Nothing wrong with it.
Honestly, it's salt and pepper. And one thing, this is something I picked up from Babish, is if you're making burgers, you always toast your buns. Because it makes the burger that much better. It's worth toasting the buns.
What kind of buns?
I prefer to buy potato buns.
Those are my simple go-tos. But my mother, it's my fault because I made fantastic French toast near the beginning of the year. My wife woke up. I had the Saturday off. She's like, I want French toast. I'm like, oh, awesome. I'm going to go to the store. And I went to the store. I bought some fresh baked brioche bread. And it was delicious. So because of the brioche we had, my mother found the brioche hamburger buns. And those are amazing. Because brioche is a sweet bread. Before we got those, I would get the onion buns. I like the onion bun.
Onion is one of those flavors that, growing up, I really liked, but I didn't know it was onion. And it's like I said earlier, where you learn how to make the flavors that you like.
Yeah.
Like you learn how to get that flavor. And onion's one of those flavors. And I didn't know it was onion. And so I would not eat onions if I could help it. But now that I know that onion is that flavor that I like, I can eat onions now.
It's funny because... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, when I make my burgers now, my go-to burger, my favorite burger to make is actually a smash burger these days. Really simple. You really make a meatball. Like, you make a little meatball, you put it into the skillet, you cover it with salt and pepper, and the salt, like, helps make that crusty crust on the burger. You put the meatball in, you put the salt and pepper on top, like, load it up, and then you just smash it down and kind of smear it a little bit. And the best smash burgers, I can't do them too well because I'm only doing a skillet. You know, they're meant for, like, fast food places because they cook really fast. They're really thin. Mm-hmm. But I've seen, like, the best smash burgers are the ones you kind of smear a little bit because it makes the edge of the patty really thin and really crispy.
One of the things you could get is a bacon press, which I think I've already used that joke. It's a wood handle, and it looks like it's supposed to be a caddy of some kind, but it's just like a metal plate.
I think we have one.
Yeah, you just use that and you push down on it. That's what it's for. It's for pushing on meat. And it's supposed to keep your bacon from curling in the pan, but I've found the best way to do that is just to take away their brooms. I can never get through that one, man. I love that joke.
That's the best one. But yeah, going back to the HGTV thing really quick, I think it must have been the day I got married. The day I got married, some light switched in my brain and said, you know what? You like HGTV now.
That's funny.
Chip and Joanna Gaines, they're going to be your idols.
You know, man, I don't think it was a switch, and I don't think it was because you got married. I think it was just a different phase in your life, and you discovered them, because I'd never heard of them before. Yeah. What are they, the Fixer Uppers?
Fixer Upper was their show.
I may have seen it before. I don't really like those shows because some of them are outlandish. They're like, oh, we have, I don't know, $1.5 million to spend on a house, and we just don't quite like it. And you walk in, and the house is like perfect, you know?
Yeah.
Nothing's falling apart. Everything looks great. The house has been well maintained.
Dude, that happened a lot. We would watch HGTV, and these people would go into a house and be like, oh, this house is awful. And Marcy and I would look at each other and be like, I would buy that house.
Yeah. They irritate me so much.
We have to acknowledge, though, where we live is a little bit of an anomaly.
That's true.
Because we live in Palm Beach, and there are
not Palm Beach proper. Palm Beach County.
Right. We live in Palm Beach County.
We have both sides of the economic spectrum.
Yes, absolutely. And what I mean is, like, you'll see somebody who will buy a $4 million house just to knock it down and build something else.
I did a windshield for a town of Palm Beach SWAT officer. I'm on the phone with him and he says, hey, so I found out this morning we're actually going to a site. So if you could meet me at this address instead. Oh, okay, whatever. So I get there and he says, oh yeah, we're just doing training. Somebody bought this house and they want to renovate it. So it has to be brought to grass in a week. Like, wait, what? The water is across the street. Like I was 100 yards from the ocean. And they have to demolish the house because they want to change something. And the house is like 30 years old. So the SWAT team was there blowing stuff up, doing training.
Hey, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, but my dad actually used to take me to Palm Beach. He used to work on Palm Beach doing real estate. He took me to this place to get burgers. Really great food. And just regularly, we would drive around Palm Beach.
Just go see the rich people?
Well, we're eating lunch one day. And I say, Dad, why do we come to Palm Beach all the time? I mean, we didn't live that close to it. It was not the kind of, we did not live in an area like Palm Beach. And he said, well, John, what's parked outside? And outside the restaurant we were eating at was a Rolls Royce, at least one, a Bentley, a Ferrari. And he said, that's why I bring you here. Not so you can see them and gawk at them, but so you can see that the people that drive those cars and the people that live here, they're just people. So when you have to go deal with them when you're a grown-up, you don't get starstruck by the $100,000 car. And I was like, oh man, that's actually really profound.
Yeah, that got deep.
Yeah. it was never a thing for me. I'll go to work on a car, and I've said this before. We'll have newer techs that come in to work on a car, and it's, you know what you're doing. You've got your training. A car is a car is a car. I mean, there's slight differences, but at the end of the day, a car is a car. And you put them up with a Mercedes S-Class, brand new $200,000 car, and they start to freak out. It's like, dude, it's the same as a Corolla, right? It's just a more expensive paint job. Yeah. Just don't cut these seats, right?
Yeah, my mom always says, man, it must be so embarrassing to pull up to the stoplight in your Bentley and you see another Bentley.
Exactly. That's exactly the point. And when you show up to like a business meeting, because my dad does white collar work and I don't. If you show up to a business meeting and somebody's got a fancy car, you know that they've got a lot of money, or at least they're showing you that they have a lot of money, right? But oh man, I don't know what movie it was, but it was like the trailer for it with John Travolta and Danny DeVito, and John Travolta pulls up in like a Geo Metro or something. It was the 90s. And Danny DeVito says, "What's this?" And he says, "That's my car." He says, "But it's got no style." And he says, "It's got plenty of style. It's great for the environment." And he says, "Oh, but what about speed?" And John Travolta looks at him and says, "Well, if you're important enough, people will wait." Oh, that's really cool. Kind of still along the same lines. But so one of the things I always liked about Fixer Upper, as opposed to some of these other shows, is I kind of related with everybody. Like, one, I relate with Chip.
Yeah, I so feel that.
I don't know him personally. I just know his television persona.
Well, and his mantra is just his way of being.
Exactly.
I don't know if you've I actually read his book, Capital Gains.
Right.
And it was just kind of a little bit of an autobiography, just kind of like, hey, here's kind of how we got to where we are. Here's some mistakes we made along the way. But reading it felt like I was just sitting in a coffee shop having a conversation with the guy.
No kidding.
It just felt so personable, so relatable.
Wow. Because I actually got Adam Savage from Mythbusters, wrote a book titled "Every Tool is a Hammer." And I haven't gotten to the reason behind the title yet. I have only read part of the first chapter because as I decided I wanted it, I realized we're going on vacation this week for my brother's 30th birthday, and this is exactly something for him. So I decided I'm going to give it to him instead. And I'll probably get another. But same kind of thing. Yeah. Just the intro in the first chapter. It's like talking with the guy. Like you're just sitting there having a conversation with him. So that's really cool.
Yeah, just so relatable.
Makes me want to read a book. I like having conversations.
Yeah. You watch those shows, though, and I often wonder, okay, how much of this work is Chip actually doing himself? Like they always make it look like Chip's doing all the work, and he's got his crew, but it's like, dude, I know you are, like, especially from reading his book, that dude runs like 4 businesses, by himself. And so it's like, okay, you are showing up for the shot. You're getting a little sweaty. You're making it look good, and you're probably going on to other stuff that you have going on.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was like the demo guy, like he was there for demo day because
that's his favorite part.
It's easy, it's fun, it's a good shot.
Yeah,
it's visually pleasing to watch goofball Chip jump through a wall. It's funny and it's totally on brand. And then he leaves, and you'll see him when it's time to do the kitchen, and maybe that's something else he does. Is he does some of the cabinet work. Then again, maybe he is because he I don't actually know, but.
Yeah, and every time you watch those shows, man, you could almost make it like a drinking game. What's the problem going to be with this house? Is they're going to want to take out a wall? It's load bearing. Guess what? Yeah. Right. Almost every time. And so I think maybe that's Chip's specialty because they love taking out walls and doing the open concept thing. And maybe his specialty is putting in those beams that run from like one end of the house to the other to support that when they take out that wall. That must be his thing.
I would love to turn that into a drinking game one day.
Yeah.
You have a housewarming party and you turn on HGTV.
You put on HGTV.
Every time there's a problem, if it's a load-bearing wall, you take a shot. If it's a sunken floor, you take 2 shots.
Yeah. Oh man, it's you can almost you could totally bet on that.
If there's no problems and it goes smoothly, you have to chug a beer.
Yeah, they make up a problem.
Right.
Well, we finished your renovation, but you got some noisy neighbors over here, so there's nothing we can do about that, though.
Right.
It's going to be an extra $3,000 to soundproof all your walls. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today on The Dad Shoes. We would really appreciate it if you would share this with your friends. Help us get the word out. If you enjoyed our podcast, you can reach out to us on Twitter at dadshoespod or email us at dadshoespod@gmail.com. Where do you find inspiration for your DIY projects? We would love to hear from you. We'd also appreciate it if you could leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Thanks again for hanging out.
Peace. You forgot the or wherever you listen to podcasts.
I don't think you can review podcasts anywhere but Apple Podcasts. Can you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Everybody always says Apple Podcasts because I think those are the ones that matter.
Stopping now.